Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, the host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. Don't you just love our new logo? Won't be purple background all the time, but I really like it. Anyway, look what we're reviewing today. This is actually was released before the Bruce Lee and Kung Fu Mania, and oddly enough, it's got a 1990 VHS trademark. Has got the 1990 on it. The DVD I used here is from 2001. So go figure. Uh, I've kept everything in here just the way it was. So when you see it, you'll realize how far we've progressed digitally from 1990 to 2024, and also how many movies have been re-released on various format in various formats. So you can see, what does that say? 1990, maybe. Yeah, X. So yeah, 1990. This is a good times presentation. And the first 3 minutes, they talk about dinosaurs and their history, at least what they did the scant research needed. And I just include this because it's a lovely dinosaur park. I want to say that's up in Montana, but I'm not 100% sure. We've also got this to start out with. Oh, wait a minute. I completely forgot that. Oh, man. That we need to go here. Let's see if I can find it. We got the bony crown. Levicephalosaurus has the hardest head around. Okay, because that's a Packy. It was from a traveling dinosaur show, and they were not nearly as popular then as they are now, which is sad because they're still not as popular as they should be, right, Lilith? So this one's for you, as we all might have thought. And oops, wrong one. There we go. That's for later. Anyway, they go through 3 minutes of this and then segue. Look, Gertie, it's Gertie, the first animated dinosaur cartoon. And before we get too much further into it, before we get 3 minutes into it and I haven't said anything, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and ring that bell. Really, we'd really appreciate it. We're up to 200, and as of today, 298 subscribers on YouTube. Whoop woo! So we're close to 300. That's pretty cool, I think. Now, where were we here? So after we get through the 3 minutes of the most basic dinosaur things about dinosaur movies and dinosaurs themselves, we segue right into a little featurette from the Golden Voyage of Sinbad with one Mr. Ray Harryhausen. Why is this there's no dinosaurs in this movie at all? Now, Ray is responsible for one of the best, well, as far as I'm concerned, the best dinosaur movie ever. We have talked about it. But there's just some shots here. See, this is what it looked like when they shot it. This is what it looked like when in the movie. I think that's pretty cool. There's a homunculus, not a perfectly miniature formed human like Leonard Hofstadter, and right there is a homunculus that the Tom Baker, the Fourth Doctor. This is the role that got him that role as the Fourth Doctor. Like you can see a little Good Times trademark there. Then we go right into our trailers. This is a trailer here, and that's all it is. It says it's a documentary, but really it's just that tiny little bit there in the front, a total of 9 minutes. It only runs about 74 minutes, maybe 73. It's 10 minutes shorter than the Bruce Lee one. This is from The Journey to the Beginning of Time, a Czech movie, which directed by Carl Zeman, which was brought over here, dubbed into English, and added a prologue and an epilogue, and with 4 kids that you can't ever see their faces. But I highly recommend it. Good Times did indeed release this on their own in 92. I had the VHS. 93 probably because it did not look a thing like any of the dinosaurs in the movies. Then we go right in. So we're just going to go through these. This is the lame 1960 version of The Lost World that uses lizards instead of dinosaurs. And I've seen it on the big screen maybe like 4 times in my life. That's plenty. King Dinosaur also. So far, not a one of these movies has had a dinosaur in it. But we'll get to it. King Dinosaur has another lizard plus stock footage from 1 million BC, which is not represented here. Giant Behemoth, which is the Paleosaurus, which is a nomen dubia for an actual dinosaur, but it isn't a real one probably. And this one is 200 feet long. It's the biggest thing since creation. So a lot of these grabs I've used just come from the trailers because they're hilarious. And we go to no, this is the Spider, which is I want to say a Burt I. Gordon movie. I like it. It's one of those teenagers versus monsters movies, just like this one, the giant Gila monster, made in Texas, I believe. And this, a movie I might have seen part of once, maybe on USA, the Loch Ness Horror. It's not good. I mean, it makes the Legend of Dinosaurs and monster birds look like Citizen Kane. Land That Time Forgot, starring Doug McClure. You may remember him from such movies as Warlords of Atlantis, The People That Time Forgot, and At the Earth's Core, which we'll see in a little bit, and also we've already reviewed here. That is a really nice puppet of they say it's a Mosasaurus, but it's really hard to say. But I like the puppet. It looks great. Jack the Giant Killer, which we've already reviewed. But you can see these pictures. These are from the trailers, and they're very beat up. I mean, they just grabbed the trailers they could find and used them. It came from Beneath the Sea, which I have reviewed, but not in a better format. Giant Octopus movie. Them, Giant Ant movie, which I've been watching on Tubi for free. And we may do that in the future. I like this. Terror, horror, excitement, and mystery. It's not much of a mystery, though. I already knew what it was about by the time I saw it. This is a good little movie that's underrated, although it's full of stock footage from 1 million BC. And Rodan makes a cameo appearance in The Valley of the Dragons, based on Jules Verne's Career of a Comet, which I'd be interested in reading. I don't think we need to talk about this too much. And then La Caconia makes an appearance, bigger than a battleship. The Giant Claw. Now, if it had been looking like it was dying and a zombie instead of just a ridiculous puppet, probably it might have been. It's a good movie. It's very enjoyable because Beaky Buzzard there is awesome. And I think we're at Tarantula. This is the one that Clint Eastwood stars in. Well, he doesn't star in. He makes a cameo in as the guy who drops the napalm. Spoiler alert, sweetie. Tarantula! Slow down there, Tarzan. 20 Million Miles to Earth, not a dinosaur. So far, we have not seen anything remotely resembling a dinosaur. I thought about using this trailer. But I changed it. But this one at least isn't presented in scope, which they wouldn't have done back then because they didn't have anamorphic televisions. So everything. Yeah. Sorry, Oddzilla versus the Thing. Can't always time the screen grabs. It's a beautiful looking movie. I mean, it's really great. Except for that ending, which we'll get to when we review it. This is James Mason in Journey to the Center of the Earth, his follow-up to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, another Jules Verne movie. It's quite good, actually. I liked it quite a bit, even with Pat Boone in it. Those are not flesh-eating Dimetrodons. The Crater Lake Monster. I had such high hopes for this and almost saw it at the drive-in, but went and saw Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger instead, and I made the wiser choice. It's almost a good... it's not. But the Plesiosaurus looks amazing, even though it wouldn't be really crawling around on the ground. We'll forgive him. Then we have a preview with Catherine Grant of the star, the female Princess Parisa of The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, talking about it. It's not quite a trailer, though. But it would have got me into the theater. Seventh Voyage of Sinbad was the Star Wars of 1957/58 because nothing... She says you have never seen anything like this on the big screen. You had in full color and monsters galore. It was great. And now we're back to Speaking of Rodan, there he is. It was the top sci-fi movie of that year, 19. I don't remember when it was released here in the States. The beast from 20,000 Fathoms. You can't hardly see him, but there's the Rhedosaurus back there. One of the
Great Godzilla.
one of the impetus for Toho to create Godzilla, because it made a lot of money in Japan. And look at this. What is civilization shocked by? Reptilicus, or Tillicus, as I now call him. We just recently talked about that. So, have we seen a dinosaur? The Rhedosaurus and the Paleosaurus are supposed to be, but they're made up. I just like this picture. And finally, the Land Unknown, which does feature a T-Rex. There's our first dinosaur. It also has an Elasmosaurus and a Pteranodon in it, and a crazy man. It's a good movie too, though. Very pulp filling. If you can look past the effects, they treat it sincerely. It's shot in widescreen. It's a good looking movie. We'll have to review it sometime. Jason and the Argonauts is the boldest adventure of all time. This is probably the re-release from '78 that I saw in the theater, much to the dismay of one Agent DA. And here we go, another Godzilla.
Blazing a trail of terror to his Japanese homeland.
And this is Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. Again, I did not time my screen grab very well, but it'll do. It'll do, donkey. At the Earth score, we're well aware of because I've reviewed it recently. And Gwanji. One of my second favorite Ray Harryhausen movie, because about a dinosaur. And once again, we get to the hyperbole.
Captain, water in the conning tower.
There's Gorgo, and that's Gorgo. There's Little Gorgo as opposed to Mama Gorgo, and the size difference. Little Gorgo, Mama Ogra. I don't like the name, but I'm not in charge of the movie. Gorgo's a very interesting movie. It would be better if more than the kid was likable. But alas, only the kid in the movie is the only likable character, really. Aside, you're kind of cheering for Gorgo.
Roaring defiance to the only enemy on Earth strong enough to challenge him. The uncomfortable King Kong.
I'd like to think I timed that very well, but it was kind of accidental. Be that as it may, this is a re-release for, I think, the 52 or 52 re-release of King Kong, where they edited out a whole bunch of stuff, about 10 minutes of it, which I did see in the theater in San Diego about 1990. It was fun to see it. I was bummed that it was a cut edited movie because the full 100-minute version had been available, but they probably all they could get, and they probably didn't even know. And then we have The Son of Kong. And finally, the trailer we're listening to right
I
now.
am gorilla god of this South Seas paradise, where sensuous maidens offer themselves in ritual sacrifice to his brute embrace.
Godzilla has a brain about this size.
Much to the chagrin. That's the American insert there. Actually, the dinosaurs had bigger brains than marbles. I'm sorry, that was a popular theory 40 years ago, 60 years ago. It's long gone now. So good, as well as the brain in the hindquarters that some paleontologists decided that we needed to believe.
He is sheer brute force, while Kong is a thinking animal. His brain is considerably larger, about 10 times the size of this gorilla's skull.
Now that isn't untrue. I mean, it's 10 times the size because they're both 50 meters tall, 150 feet tall. It's probably even larger than that, because 10 times would only make him 60 feet. 10 times as big as a man. It's a good thing I don't get... and, we've talked about 1 million years BC. Probably should have used the trailer for that, because that actually has 1, 2, 3, 4 dinosaurs in it.
Being instinctive rivals, there is no doubt that they will attempt to destroy one another.
King Kong versus Godzilla, heading for their colossal collision, shattering every obstacle that stands between them in the most fantastic rampage of annihilation ever recorded on film.
That was probably pretty darn loud, wasn't it? Sorry. And then this is where we finish up here with the trailers on with when dinosaurs ruled the earth. This was like the holy grail for a while. Of it never aired in Colorado, and 1970, the Hammer's follow up to 1,000,000 Years BC. Sadly, it's not a good movie.
See King Kong stamp Tokyo into the ground, holding a beautiful girl in his grasp.
Doesn't he always?
See Godzilla destroy an entire army.
Doesn't he always?
See King Kong trapped by the blazing barrier of 1,000,000,000 volts.
Except that electricity makes Kong stronger. Let's see. We drew two or Gigantus and then King Kong versus Godzilla, away from reviewing King Kong versus Godzilla. So here's the only dinosaur in When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth. Now, the dinosaur that Sana trains looks like it's a quadruped. It looks like it might be an overgrown Moskops. That's what I'm calling it these days because that's about the only thing it looks like. It was not a real one, but it's really well done. The animation's great, which, it's sad to say. You hear that way too many times. The effects are great. The story sucks. The story sucked. There's way too many chase scenes.
But nobody can stop the great showdown when King Kong and Godzilla meet to fight for survival of the fittest.
So YouTube is, protecting itself, I guess, and limiting the amount of. Because I grabbed this trailer from YouTube instead of looking for it on Internet Archive, which I've been having to go to, and that's fine if they don't want to let you convert it to download them. I don't know why they care about trailers and such, but this one was fine. Looks great, and I just find it interesting. All of this copyright stuff that YouTube pretends to care about. So I guess we're just going to have music and effects now. Don't miss the Battle of the Centuries. That's it. Oh, just ends. Okay. Thanks, guys. All right. Well, my fellow agents, there's our final card. Just to let you know that we have a reg. And until our next assignment, I'm not 100% sure what tomorrow will be a review of because it's a free day. I'd like to do something a little different than monsters and dinosaurs and kung fu, although kung fu is very popular. The martial arts there, I like that. And of course, we'll have the day 18 of the Advent calendar. So if you want to see any of that, please just subscribe to the channel and hit that bell on YouTube. And until our next assignment, this is X7 signing off.
Godzilla, blazing a trail of terror to his Japanese homeland.
Captain, water in the conning tower. Godzilla!
Roaring defiance to the only enemy on Earth strong enough to challenge him. The unconquerable King Kong, giant gorilla god of this South Seas paradise, where sensuous maidens offer themselves in ritual sacrifice to his brute embrace.
Godzilla has a brain about this size. He is sheer brute force. While Kong is a thinking animal. His brain is considerably larger, about 10 times the size of this gorilla's skull. Being instinctive rivals, there is no doubt that they will attempt to destroy one another.
King Kong versus Godzilla, heading for their colossal collision, shattering every obstacle that stands between them in the most fantastic rampage of annihilation ever recorded on film. See King Kong stamp Tokyo into the ground, holding a beautiful girl in his grasp. See Godzilla destroy an entire army. See King Kong trapped by the blazing barrier of 1 billion volts. But nothing, nobody can stop the great showdown when King Kong and Godzilla meet to fight for survival of the fittest.